and I'll be able to see the broadcast is live. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Money and Mindset. We are running a little behind. Me with technical difficulties. Me, Dr. Thyonne, your story genius. They call me Dr. Story. And I'm working with mindset. We don't have Dr. Stephanie here with us today, Dr. Money, but she's with us in spirit. And so, as we embark on today's Money and Mindset conversation, I first just want to say good morning and welcome to the Money and Mindset show with the doctors. You know, Dr. Stephanie was here last week when I had an injury, wasn't able to be in the room with you. And Dr. Money talked about money in terms of moving into different phases of our life and how we move forward and transition. I listened to the show and it occurred to me that she talked about adulting and how to move forward in different progressions with money in this adulting type of phase. And it kind of struck me that adulting is a new term that came about when Gen Xers and millennials came about. And so I wanted to examine the idea of adulting in this money and mindset context as somewhat of a juxtaposition of what Dr. Money was talking about. Because you see, I come from the baby boomer generation and we didn't get a chance to do adulting. Let's just think about it. Adulting in particular, adulting is a verb, but being an adult is a noun. Adult. We went from our different developmental phases into adulthood. And that meant we were the people who were going to be responsible for our lives. So in being an adult, in this adulting capacity, it's important that we understand kind of what it means and where we are. So what defines stepping into adulthood? I thought the first thing I would do is actually speak a little. I said, we have a person in the background. Now you're live. Hi, Rashida. So here we are with the word adult. Adult. What is adult? A person who is fully grown or developed. A sentence would be, children should be accompanied by an adult. Wherein adulting is the practice of behaving in a way that's characteristic of a responsible adult, especially the accomplishment of mundane but necessary tasks. And that type of sentence would be, it feels really good to take a step back from adulting and have someone else cook dinner for me. What does it mean to be adulting? I'm really a little confused on it. Now, I know Dr. Money talked about it has to do with going through different developmental stages. And developmental stages are absolutely a real thing. We go from being a seed, being fertilized, going into infancy. Infant is the first part of being born. And then we go into childhood, which is actually phases. You have a toddler phase. It's where you're just learning how to wobble, crawl, walk. Then you move into your childhood phase. This is where you go to kindergarten, start learning to read, learning your ABCs. That's the childhood phase. And then we move into this in-between phase. We created a new term called tween, because tween is right before you get to teen. So tween, you're sort of, I'm in between. I'm 12 or I'm 11 and I feel like I'm a teenager. I'm starting to get some things happening with my body, with my mind. Developmentally, I'm growing into a different phase. So developmentally, you get into that teenage phase and teenagers developmentally start learning even more. So your capacity is bigger. You're able to do more than one thing at a time. As a toddler, you may not be able to understand things. You don't really your body doesn't move in the same way as a child would or as a teen would. And that's one of the reasons why you start learning to drive when you're a teenager at 16, 15, you can get your learner's permit. So when you're going through doing something like that, you're getting that learner's permit, you're learning to drive. You're learning different things that you can do with your body in different ways. You then are starting to move into that last phase of young adult before getting to the adult phase. And young adult occurs when you're mature, you're starting to make decisions on your own. Think about it. Nobody has to tell you that you're going to have to get up and go to school when you're in the 12th grade. You know there are some things that you have to do. That's a young adult moving into this adulthood phase. So as a young adult, you start becoming more responsible. And I would argue the financial capacity, like when Dr. Money was young, she automatically started understanding money. She knew that money was going to be important in her life. And I would argue financial literacy is important at all of those earlier phases so that you can become a responsible adult. Once you pass that threshold of being a young adult, you actually are supposed to just step into being an adult. This idea of adulting is really got me a little puzzled. Because see, when you define what it means to step into adulthood, it means you're being responsible. Now, our show is about money and mindset. And so being responsible for us means getting your mindset right, that you're ready to be an adult, and getting your money right, that you're going to be responsible for paying your bills, for taking care of what your responsibilities are. If you're in a relationship, taking care of each other. If you've decided to have a child early, taking care of that responsibility. And as an adult, it means kind of getting your own space. Because see, people who live with me that are adulting, they're not adults, they're children in my space. And so if you're adulting in my space, you don't get to make responsible decisions because you've decided not to be an adult. You've decided to practice being an adult, which means I get to say what time you come in, what time you can leave, and what happens in my space. I really want to encourage those of you who are thinking adulting is a good idea to take a risk and get out there and be an adult. You don't have to practice it. You can be responsible and take charge of your life. So Dr. Money also talked about, she talked about the framing blocks of life, which we just talked about, the developmental stages where you go from infancy to adulthood. Now, she also talked about the mindset and viewpoint that you have to have as you're going through the adulting phase. Again, I want to challenge you. Don't be adulting, just be adult. Be adult means you do know your mission and your vision. And mission and vision are different. Mission is what you propose you want, that purpose, that thing that you'd like to see happen. Vision is out there. That's what you're aspiring to. So our mission for Money and Mindset is to share concepts with you on money and mindset so that you become more financially stable in your health, your wealth, your life, in everything that you do. Our vision would be this Money and Mindset show be broadcast internationally so that more people can see it. That's a goal that we have. So vision takes you out further. A vision could be, which would be wonderful for me, that a show like Money and Mindset would not be necessary because so many people have taken their financial responsibility and the responsibility of understanding where you're coming from, that you've taken it so seriously that there's no need for the Money and Mindset show, that you're just pulling information from our sites and you're responsible for it. That adulting is not even a thing anymore, that we've become responsible adults. And those who are on their way to adulting are also understanding money and mindset earlier in life because it's introduced as parents introduce it to their children very early. That would be a vision. So vision has you aspire to something that would be almost impossible, but you can aspire to it. I love visions that put me out of business type of thing, that I'm not needed anymore because this problem has been resolved. I'm working with a group with foster care children. I would so wish that we didn't have a need for foster care because people cared for each other, adults cared for adults, and helped them resolve the problems that caused them to have issues with their children so that they could literally take care of their children on their own. That would be a vision I would have for foster care, that the foster care industry was just not needed anymore. Dr. Money also talked about the different cycles that we go through in the economy. And I love how she spoke on preserving resources and wealth. And that's part of the cycles. If you think about cycles as seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall, each of these is a cycle. And we go through different phases in those seasons. Even those of us who live in California, where it's sunny most of the time, we do know distinctly what the seasons are. We feel different during the seasons because we have daylight savings time. The amount of light we have changes during different seasons. And so these cycles in the economy actually require that we preserve and reserve some of our resources for different seasons or for different cycles. Think about the cycles, and Dr. Money talked about it in financial cycles, but loop those financial cycles with your mindset cycles. There's a time to save, there's a time to spend, there's a time to invest. And you use those cycles simultaneously so that you keep things running smoothly. When we can overlap those cycles, a little saving, a little investing, kind of a wash on, a wash off, we can have even more abundance in our lives. This is what responsible people do. This is what adults do. But we also want to teach our young people how to do it as well. How to understand the cycles. Yes, at Christmas time, everybody wants to spend because you want to give gifts to people. That's a cycle of time. And to prepare for that cycle of time, we have to do a little investing, a little saving, a little tucking things away, so that when that cycle of giving comes, we're adequately prepared to put something out. And then finally, Dr. Money spoke on what scares you and how to look at the thing that might scare you as something that might actually challenge you. This takes me back to the beginning again with adulting. How many of you are scared to be an adult? Sometimes I am. I certainly get in my feelings about adulthood a lot because it is a lot of responsibility to be an adult. Oh my gosh, it's the phase. It's adult. That's it. I mean, they call us seniors when you get a certain age, but it still means you're an adult. I want to challenge any of you out there who are in that age range where you feel like, I'm still adulting. I don't quite get it. I don't quite know. Take the leap of faith. You're an adult. Honestly, if you're over 21, you are an adult. There is no adulting. It's not a practice game. It's a real game. You're in it. You're an adult. And it's scary. And it's challenging. And it's hard. But it's also fun. And it's rewarding. And it makes you feel so accomplished when you get it. And so I challenge you to leap out into the opportunity of being an adult. Adulting, that's pretending. That's like acting like I'm an adult. That's the princess at 6 years old, pretending with her teacup to be a fairy princess. And she can always be a fairy princess. But when you pretend to be an adult, doesn't work as much. You want to be that thing. You want to be an adult. Being an adult means you are responsible. Being an adult means you've taken a grasp of what's before you and you're stepping into it with every wave of opportunity that comes your way. And being an adult means you sign off on some things. You're signing off on whether or not you're going to live someplace other than your parents' home. You're signing off on, sometimes as you become an adult, you're signing off on what's going to happen with your parents, because the roles can reverse as you age, as we age. Yes, our children who are now adults begin to take care of us. That's a vision I have for the future. No adulting, just an adult being responsible and helping to take care of me. Oh, that's a nice vision. One of the things that Dr. Money talked about last week in regards to this was planning. And of course, as you think of adulting, perhaps that's where this comes from. It's really about planning. And it's about planning and preparing for your future. What type of future are you going to have as a responsible adult? Is it going to be one where you're always afraid to step into the next opportunity or to step into your life? Or is this a future where you're stepping in full on, ready for whatever adventure comes? I believe each and every one of you can step into that adult future, into that adult presence, without the fear that you haven't learned how to be an adult. We don't learn how to be what we are. We just be who we are. That's the idea of being human. We are human beings, not necessarily human learners, like we're learning to be human. No, we just have to be that. Be an adult, be responsible. And yes, plan and prepare for things that are to come. That's what adults do. It's one of the most satisfying things in the world to claim who you are, to be who you are in the setting, in the mindset, in the money, being an adult. Now, being an adult in the money and in the mindset doesn't mean you have it all together. That's the beauty of this. Being adult means we make mistakes. We fall, we flounder. We get back up, we try again. That is the mindset to have. The get back up, try again. Being who we are. So I'm going to close out today. I think we've gone about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so. But we will be back next week. Dr. Money will be back. And I know she is doing her 420 Wellness, which of course is the Jamaica getaway. There's a spa vacation that she has that she'll be introducing on the show. Hopefully next week she'll be able to talk about it some more. We've been kind of hinting at it a little here and there. This is how we started our journey in Jamaica. And so she's returned and found some wonderful spots to invite each and every one of you to come out and join us. These spots are rejuvenating places for adults. That's the other good thing about being an adult. You get to make decisions that you get to go places when you want to go. If you're adulting, you may not be able to make that decision because you're practicing being an adult. That means you're not ready to do that yet. Adult, you're being an adult. And so adults get to go to 420 Wellness Jamaica is what it's called. 420wellnessjamaica.com. Check it out and book your stay for 420 Wellness. Rejuvenating your mind helps you rejuvenate your money. It is amazing what has come to light since being on that journey with Dr. Money. I have had so many other things open up an opportunity in terms of my finances, in terms of my health, just everything opened up when I said, I need to take some time, get away, rejuvenate, and get myself back in alignment. Getting yourself back in alignment in life is important. And again, this has to do with not just your money, but it has to do with your mindset. How are we thinking? Have we cleared things out so that we can move further? Or do we have a lot of stuff that we're holding on to that keeps us in the fray? Consider 420 Wellness Jamaica. It would be a great place to rejuvenate and rebuild your health. I want to thank you guys for coming on the Money and Mindset Show one more time. We are here on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock when there's no technical difficulties, because today I had to start a little late. Tuesdays, 9 a.m. Every Tuesday, you will see Dr. Money, Dr. Story. One of us or both of us will be here, and we'll have some special guests coming up for you in the next couple of episodes. We'd love to hear from you of things that you want to learn as well. Anything that you'd like for us to present, we are so open to that opportunity. Today's opportunity was talking about adulting, because I saw that episode last week with Dr. Money and I loved it. I loved what she taught, but the idea of it being adulting, like moving into the phase slowly, I was like, no. We're adults and we're going to move into it now. So Dr. Money, who normally does not spoon feed, I'm the spoon feeder. I'm the one who gives it to you just little by little. Dr. Money actually just spoon fed the adults, saying that they could be adulting. And so I'm bringing her back to her regular, take that dose of castor oil and get better. And so we'll see you next week on Money and Mindset, Tuesday at 9 a.m. I look forward to each of you joining us. Dr. Money will be back with her wonderful money tips, and Dr. Story will be back sharing with you what we have with mindset and story. Thank you so much for today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye. I'm going to ask our tech people to shut the live down.